Hey guys, it's Karrix with another video. This is more of a how to be a priest in general. More of a guide to help these new people, or if you have some experience and want to be better. So just simply follow this, and it should help you benefit in some way. The way that we set this video up from Noobley, it is a bit different than how most people would. We're gonna split it into sections. You're gonna see the talents first, and you're gonna have them read off to you, and then a small video showing them in action. And then after every section, it will just simply be explained in a very easy way for everyone to understand. So I will be back after every subsection of this video explaining what exactly it is and some tips of how you can use it yourself. Void Tendrils requires level 15. Summon shadowy tendrils out of the ground, rooting up to 5 enemy targets within 8 yards of the caster for 20 seconds. Killing the tendril will cancel the effect. Psyfiend requires level 15. Summons a Psyfiend that stands in place for 10 seconds. The Psyfiend casts a Psychic Terror on a nearby enemy within 20 yards every 2 seconds, preferring anything attacking the priest. Psychic Terror causes the enemy to flee for 30 seconds or 8 seconds in a PvP situation. Damage caused may interrupt the effect. Dominate Mind requires level 15. Controls a mind up to level 93 for 30 seconds or 8 seconds in a PvP situation. Does not work versus mechanical beings. Body and Soul requires level 30. When you cast Power Word Shield or Leap of Faith, you increase the target's movement speed by 60% for 4 seconds. Angelic Feather, 40-yard range, requires level 30. Place a feather at the target location. If allies walk through it, they gain a 60% increased movement speed for 6 seconds. Only 3 feathers can be placed at one time, and accumulates an additional charge once every 10 seconds. Mindbender requires level 45. Creates a Mindbender to attack the target. Caster receives 1.46% mana when the Mindbender attacks. Lasts 15 seconds, and it replaces Shadow Fiend. Spectral Guise requires level 60. Your shadow blurs into the darkness, leaving your true form behind. As a shadow, you are stealth, but remain in combat. Lasts 6 seconds, or until your true form is hit by 3 direct attacks. Power Infusion requires level 75. Infuses the priest with power, increasing spell casting speed by 20%, all damage by 5%, and reducing the mana cost of all spells by 20%. Lasts 20 seconds. Divine Star requires level 90. Fires a Divine Star in front of you, traveling 24 yards, causing divine damage to all enemies and healing to all allies within 4 yards of its path. After reaching its destination, it will return to you, also dealing damage and healing to all targets in its path. Alright, now that you guys have seen the different talents that I use in PvP, I'll kind of explain them and tell you how I use them in the different scenarios that they can be used. So we'll start off with Void Tendrils. So, all it is really it's just a root. So you can root the nearest 5 enemies and for a good 20 seconds, and the only way they can get out of it is if they either have a freedom or if they kill the tendril. Most people don't kill the tendril, so usually you get a full CC on them. So I take this one when I'm pretty much against melee classes that I know I need to kite a bit better. Let's just say I'm facing like a warrior or something, I'm definitely going to use this, because I'm not going to use the fear because he can just get out of that very easily. So this is a very good option, but again, if you're against a pally, they have freedom, so it does waste like a 30-second cooldown if you are against a pally. So yeah, so there you gotta just use judgment and determine what you're against, what you should use. Siphoned, really quickly, is just a fear. You place it down, it fears people, but it can be interrupted, so some people do actually go interrupted, or some warriors use piercing shout, I believe it's called, interrupting shout. So then again, that's how that can work, and that you can get interrupted for that. Dominate Mind I use more for in 2s when I'm facing a healer comp. This is an 8-second CC that you can put on the other healer. So let's just, with this, you can get a very nice CC chain. I usually play with a DK, so what I do is I go with a fear, which is 8 seconds. I go to a Dominate Mind, which is another 8 seconds, if it's not interrupted. And then my DK goes into an Asphyxiate, and then into a Strangulate. So by then, that is a ton of time that that person is out of the game, and is easy, very easy to land a kill over that period of time. Next is Body and Soul. It is just, for these level 30 talents, they're all about mobility. So this is a passive one, so that's why I use it a lot. It's passive, it's just another thing I don't have to worry about. So either when I bubble or use Leap of Faith, they get a movement speed buff either way. It's very nice. Angelic Feather, it is better than Body and Soul just because it lasts longer and you have 3 charges of them. But just the difference yet again is that you don't have, you have to personally use the ability and place it on the ground, which takes a lot more time than just using your normal spells already to get that speed boost. Yet again, up to you, your preference, your playstyle. For the 45, I think there really is only one option as a 5.3. It's Mindbender. It does a small amount of damage, but also gives you a nice amount of mana regen. So I use this because it's very important to have that mana regen in some of these longer fights that you're in. Because if you're you can't heal, then everyone dies. Not a fun time. On to level 60, yet again, I think there really is only one spec that you should be using, and that is Spectral Guise. This is beneficial in so many ways. This one, you can, just trying to think here. We've got many ways to get, either you can kite people with it, so if someone is, let's say warrior sitting on you, okay? You can fear him, and right away he's going to Berserker Rage. But if you go fast enough, you can get in a Spectral Guise, and then you can be halfway across the map before he finds you. So it's very easy to kite with this, and you can avoid a lot of incoming damage. Many times when I'm against a Warlock, I use Spectral Guise, and I avoid a full Chaos Bolt coming at me, which saves over 100k healing. So it's very nice. Now Power and Fusion, yet again, is the only one I think you should use at 75 as a 5.3. The reason I say that is because will be very viable in 5.4, along with from darkness comes light. But this just reduces all your mana cost and increases your spell casting, so it's very nice. You can get some very quick heals off, and not only are they quick, but they are also cheap. So you can get, it's just a lot more mana efficient. You do get more heals off in general. It's very nice. And then for the bottom one, the only one really again is Divine Star. Certain scenarios you could use Cascade, but usually Divine Star. It's just very nice. It's a short cooldown. It does pretty good healing. It does 30k when it goes out and back, and crit about 50k. So that's a good quick heal that once you hit it, it goes out and comes back without you having to worry about a thing. You can be casting other abilities while it's healing and doing some damage. So that is about it for glyphs, and I'll be back once you see the general abilities for priests. Fear Ward requires level 54. Wards the friendly target against fear. The next fear effect used against the target will fail, using up the ward. Lasts 3 minutes. Hymn of Hope requires level 66. Restores 2% mana to 3 nearby low mana friendly party or raid targets every 2 seconds for 8 seconds, and increases their total maximum mana by 15% for 8 seconds. Maximum of 12 mana restores. The priest must channel to maintain the spell. Leap of Faith requires level 84. You pull the spirit of a friendly party or raid target to you, instantly moving them directly in front of you. Mass Dispel requires level 72. Dispels magic in a 15-yard radius, removing all harmful spells from each friendly target and one beneficial spell from each enemy target. Affects a maximum of 10 friendly targets and 10 enemy targets. Psychic Scream requires level 12. The caster lets out a Psychic Scream, causing 5 enemies within 8 yards to flee for 8 seconds. Damage caused may interrupt this effect. Shackle Undead requires level 32. Shackles the target undead enemy for up to 50 seconds. The shackled unit is unable to move, attack, or cast spells. Any damage caused will release the target. Only one target can be shackled at a time. Void Shift requires level 87. You and the current targeted party or raid member swap health percentages. Increases the lower health percentages of the two to 25% if below that current amount. Alright, we'll start this one off with Fear Ward. Fear Ward is just it's a 3-minute cooldown, so it's rather a long cooldown, but it does eliminate you to have one fear on you, which is an 8-second CC if it's not on a diminishing return. So it's just very nice to have. You can that's 8 seconds that you will be in an arena match versus out of it just by getting feared, just for using an insta-cast ability. So this is just very, very useful, has a nice utility to it. Okay, and then we have Hymn of Hope. This is the biggest cooldown for a disc priest, or really any priest to be, as a matter of fact. It is your big mana return. You have 6 seconds. It is channeled. It is very easily kickable, but in the end, if you just go LOS, you can easily get the whole thing off. It's a roughly a 7.5 minute second cast, so it does take a while, but you get over 100k mana back when you get the whole thing off. So next is Leap of Faith. This pretty much just brings your current target and you pull them towards you so they are standing at your location. I use this if a team member is getting bursted on by a rat or a warrior, or a mate, or if a hunter trapped them, I pull them to me just to get them out of somewhere, or next to me to keep attacking. So it's just more of a utility. It's a relatively short cooldown, actually. And onto Mass Dispel. Mass Dispel is not very good unless you use it in with the glyph, which I will be talking about later in the glyph section of this video. But for now, I'll just explain that. So, you have Mass Dispel, either you're facing a mage or a paladin, you can if they block, you can dispel that ice block, or if they use Divine Shield, you can also dispel it. Therefore, you can land a kill and be done, instead of having it go on for maybe another 10 minutes. So I find that is a need to have. Next is Psychic Scream. This is the biggest CC that us priests have. This is our main go-to CC. You get it fears up to 5 enemies around you for 8 seconds, which is a very long time in an arena. A lot can happen in those 8 seconds. So then we have Shackle Undead. Not many priests use this. This is what can determine a priest that knows what he's doing from what he doesn't. Some very, very good priests do not use this, so do not get me wrong that if they don't use it, they're bad. It's just a preference if you want to use it or not. But Shackle Undead is, you do need to be very observant of your arenas and battlegrounds when you are using this, because it can only be used against undead enemies. So that means a DK that Lichborn or DK pets. I actually do not know if it works on actually undead, the race undead. I have not tried that out now that I think of that, but I assume that it would. So, yet again, it's very nice to use, but when a DK does use Lichborn, you can put this on him. He's shackled for 8 seconds and cannot do anything. He can't cast or anything. He is forced to trinket or has to sit in it. And along with like a unholy DK, if he uses his Ebon Gargoyle, you can shackle that and run behind a pillar, and there goes his entire burst. He's got nothing to use. That is a 3-minute cooldown for an unholy DK, and they've got nothing to use. That is their entire burst. So if you can eliminate that, that's massive. And then we are on, lastly we have Void Shift. This is a 5-minute cooldown. This is your last, this is pretty much your last chance go-to ability. You've got, if you or your partner is about to die, you can use Void Swap, and you will get their health, they will get yours. So if you're about to die, your target can get your health, and then they can use self-heals to heal themselves up, or you do the other way. You swap them, go behind a pillar, and start healing yourself. So it's just pretty much your last chance that you have before someone dies, and it's a very nice lifesaver. So I will come back once you see the discipline-specific abilities. Archangel requires level 50. Consumes your evangelism, increasing your healing done by 5% for each evangelism consumed for 18 seconds. Inner Focus requires level 36. Reduces the mana cost of your next Flash Heal, Greater Heal, or Prayer of Mending by 25% and increases its critical strike effect chance by 100%. Additionally, you become immune to Silence, Interrupt, and Dispel effects for 5 seconds. Pain Suppression requires level 58. Instantly reduces the friendly target's threat by 5% and reduces all damage taken by 40% for 8 seconds. Castable while stunned. Power Word Barrier requires level 70. Summon a holy barrier on the target location that reduces all damage done to friendly targets by 25%. While within the barrier, spellcasting will not be interrupted by damage. The barrier lasts for 10 seconds. Purify requires level 22. Dispels harmful effects on the target, removing all magical and disease effects. Spirit Shell requires level 28. For the next 15 seconds, your Heal, Flash Heal, Greater Heal, and Prayer of Healing no longer heal, but instead create absorption shields that last for 15 seconds. Okay, we'll start this one off with Archangel. Alright, for Archangel, it is a 30-second cooldown, and it consumes your evangelism. So how you get evangelism is it's when you do a damaging spell to an enemy. Every one damaging spell gives you 1 stack, maximum of 5. So you can increase your healing done up to 25% for 18 seconds, which is a very nice heal buff. It gives you a lot more. And if you are a disc priest that likes to use healing as atonement, which I will go over in the gameplay section. It will just benefit quite a bit from this. And then we have Inner Focus. Inner Focus is a 45-second cooldown. You cannot be silenced or interrupted when you use this. So some people use it in unison with Hymn of Hope, so they can get the whole thing off and not have to worry about it at all. And then it just gives you a guaranteed crit for your next heal, and with that, with a crit you get a big absorption on top of that heal because the Disc Priest passive. So all in all, it's a win-win. Next is Pain Suppression. Mine's actually on a macro, so I'm going to pull it up here. It's a 3-minute cooldown, and now what is important about this is the damage taken. The threat reduction has nothing to do with it or does not matter at all in PvP. There's no such thing as threat in PvP. It's just a warrior has shield wall, which reduces all damage taken by 40% for him. This is a shield wall for anyone else. You get to put it on anyone that you like for 8 seconds, and it can be used while you're stunned. So this is massive if you're in a very long CC chain, like I was talking about how I can set up others with my DK. This is what I would use when I'm in that kind of a situation where I can't heal him, but I need him to take less damage. Onto Power Word Barrier. This is also a 3-minute cooldown. This is pretty much an AoE pain suppression, but just not as good. It's 25% damage reduction instead of 40. 25% is still quite a bit of damage reduction while you're in here. So you just throw this down in a targeted area, and it's a very nice AoE damage reduction. Next is Purify. It's not very much a cooldown, more as something that you need to use to be a good healer. It dispels harmful effects on the target. So it's on an 8-second cooldown. If you're against a DK, you can dispel the diseases. If you're against a mage, you can dispel the Frost Novas, which loses him a big crit. So there are just these massive things that can help you as you play that will be very beneficial if you use this. And then lastly, we have Spirit Shell. Spirit Shell is a 1-minute cooldown, and for 15 seconds your heals make a big absorb. They can easily push over 200k absorption shield that lasts for 15 seconds. So a 200k absorb is huge, and therefore you can just have your friend run in. You can either buff him at the beginning using this and he runs in and does his thing, or you can do it as they go into combat. If you know the enemy team's going to be bursting soon, you can put them on there in advance. So you just have to be aware of what's going on around you when you use this. Chakra Chastise requires level 56. Increases the damage done to your shadow and holy spells by 50%. Grants a 10% chance for Smite to reset the cooldown of Holy Word Chastise. Reduces the mana cost of Smite and Holy Fire by 90%, and transforms your Holy Word spell back into Holy Word Chastise. Now, Holy Word Chastise deals a small amount of holy damage and disorients the enemy for 1.5 seconds. Chakra Sanctuary requires level 56. Increases the healing done by your area of effect heals by 25%, reduces the cooldown of your Circle of Healing spell by 2%, and transforms your Holy Word Chastise into Holy Word Sanctuary. Now, Holy Word Sanctuary blesses the ground with divine light, healing all within for a certain amount of small amount of heals every 2 seconds for 30 seconds. Only one sanctuary can be active at a time. Healing effectiveness diminishes for each player beyond 6 within the area. Chakra Serenity requires level 56. Increases the healing done by your single target healing spells by 25%, causing them to causes them to refresh the duration of your renew on the target, and transforms your Holy Word Chastise spell into Holy Word Serenity. Now, Holy Word Serenity heals the target for a large amount and increases the critical strike chance of your heal spells on the target by 25% for 6 seconds. Divine Hymn requires level 78. Heals 5 nearby lowest health friendly party or raid targets within 40 yards for a lot every 2 seconds for 8 seconds, and increases healing done to them by 10% for every 8 seconds. The priest must channel to maintain the spell. Guardian Spirit requires level 70. Calls upon a Guardian Spirit to watch over the friendly target. The spirit increases all healing received by that target by 60%, and also prevents the target from dying by sacrificing itself. This sacrifice terminates the effect, but heals the target for 50% of their maximum health, lasts 10 seconds, and is castable while stunned. Lightwell requires level 36. Creates a holy light well. Friendly players can click on this light well to restore a small amount of health over 6 seconds. Attacks done to you equal to 30% of your total health will cancel the effect. Light well lasts for 3 minutes or 15 charges. Purify requires level 22. Dispels harmful effects on the target, removing all magical and disease effects. Spirit of Redemption requires level 30. Upon death, the priest becomes the Spirit of Redemption for 15 seconds. The Spirit of Redemption cannot move, attack, be attacked, or targeted by any spells or effects. While in this form, the priest can cast any healing spell free of cost. When the effect ends, the priest dies. Okay, we'll start off Holy with 3 different stances that Holy has. All the different chakras. You have chakra Chastise, Sanctuary, and Serenity. So, we'll start off with Chastise. This is your DPS stance. It increases the damage you do by 50%, and it also reduces the mana cost of your DPS spells by 90%. So, this is very nice if you want to do more just of a damage priest. Some people do. That's how it works. And then you also get this ability when you're in this stance, which does 20k damage and disorients the target for 3 seconds. Now, why this is useful is every 30 seconds you can hit this, they'll get disorientated, and then you can run over and fear them for another 8-second stun without having to worry about you getting CC'd yourself as you're running over to go fear someone else. Actually, I'm just going to mention this quick. As I play a Disc Priest a lot, when I see a Holy Priest, this is what always beats me, is having this Holy Word Chastise. I get destroyed by a Holy Priest because of this. I can't get a single fear off, because as soon as I go over there, I get disorientated and feared myself. So, it's just how their playstyle works for Holy, and it's beneficial to them. Next is Sanctuary. It is your AoE stance. This is it increases your area of effect healing spells by 25%. So that's you just do more AoE, and here's your Holy Word Sanctuary, which is the big AoE heal. It does a decent amount of damage over time, and it lasts for 30 seconds. Next is your single target healing stance, which increases your single target healing by 25%. And when you use a single target heal, it also refreshes renew on the target. So this is very, very beneficial when you use the glyph of renew with it. You'll see that in the glyph section right after this. But then you also get Holy Word Serenity, which heals the target instantly for 51k, just like that. That was 140k crit. as an insta-cast, which is huge, and the 6 seconds following that, it increases the crit chance on them. So, this is just and it's on a 10-second cooldown, cheap mana, so this is the best ability to use for a Holy Priest. Now, we'll start with Divine Hymn. This is your biggest heal you have as a Holy Priest. It heals 5 nearby lowest targets for a lot of healing over time. I've seen this crit easy 80k in arenas, so this is just a no-brainer, massive one. If you get this kicked, you're gonna be very disappointed. For here you wanna have the enemies CC'd if they're on you, so you can get this off, because if you get silenced or stunned or anything, it's just a big heal wasted. Now Guardian Spirit. This is your lifesaver, pretty much. It's on a 3-minute cooldown, and a Guardian will watch over the friendly target and increases the healing done by 60%. 60% is a huge healing buff. And if the target dies, they don't actually die, they get put up to 50% health, and the Guardian goes away. So, if you're about to die or someone else is about to die, throw this on them, you'll get 50% health and won't die. That's how it works. Next is Lightwell. Lightwell is something that you just have to run or place it on the ground. Your friendly targets can click it, they get a nice heal. Almost every Holy Pally uses Glyph of Light Spring, but that will change in 5.4. I'll go over this in the Glyph section. On to Purify, yet again, it's our cleanse, it's what we dispel things with, as before. And then Spirit of Redemption is a passive that is you become the Spirit of Redemption for 25 seconds. It is actually, my bad, it is 15. I've got this glyph right here. So it's 15 seconds. You're not able to move, but you can cast as many spells as you want, so you can get however many heals you can get off in 15 seconds is what you want to do. You want to be pumping out heals to your team members before you truly die. So, I'll be right back after you see all these glyphs. Alright, here are some of the bigger glyphs that I use. I'm going to start at the top with Glyph of Shadow Word Death. Your Shadow Word Death can now be cast at any time, but deals 25% of the damage against targets above 20% health, and the damage dealt back to you in the end. So the reason I use this is when I'm facing a hunter or a mage, if I can predict when they're going to polymorph me or trap me, I can use this in advance. I'll get polyed or trapped, the damage will come back to me, hit me, and break it. It is something rather complicated to get used to, but it is very well worth it in the end. So next is Glyph of Inner Fire. It increases the armor gained from your Inner Fire spell by 50%. Now, this is important because if you're facing double DPS and you know they're going to sit on you as the priest, this 50% bonus to your armor, plus the already 60 from that, is just a massive amount. Or 40 from that, sorry. So that's just a massive amount of armor gain, which means damage reduction. Now as Holy more, taking a twist over to Holy, the Glyph of Light Spring, as of 5.3, you have a Light Well, and this is a must-have in your major glyphs for a Holy Priest. When you put your Light Well down, it turns into a Light Spring, which will automatically heal your partners without them having to click it. So this is very, very useful. It's another more of a passive ability then, so it's just very helpful. And yet again, Glyph of Mass Dispel. I kind of went over this earlier, how if a mage blocks or if a pally bubbles, you can dispel it, and this is a must-have for priests. Now back to Disc. Glyph of Penance is a must-have as a major glyph. It increases the mana cost by 20%, but allows you to be cast while moving. This is huge. So if you're about to cast Penance on someone, you start it, you start your cast and walk behind a pillar, and you cannot get CC'd in any way. So this again comes with the pillar humping idea, so therefore you're just much better off, much safer in your arenas. The Glyph of Prayer of Mending. The first charge of your Prayer of Mending heals for an additional 60%, but has one fewer charge. In an arena, usually you have 2s, 3s, and 5s. With this glyph, it bounces 4 times. So in the most of arena, you're having 5 players, and it's not going to hit one target. By the time it gets to that last target, or would have got to that last target, it's going to be off cooldown again. You can use it again. But that 60% heal, with that glyph, my Prayer of Mending hits for 100k non-crit. So it is a huge heal, very nice. And then for Glyph of Renew, lastly, I use this quite frequently. Your Renew heals 33% more each time it heals, but its duration is reduced by 3 seconds. 3 seconds is not that long. It is a small hot to keep up. It's not too difficult, and those extra hots that go off and tick are quite a bit. They're 13 or 14k each, which adds up very fast. So, but the 3 I mainly use when I'm on my Disc Priest is Penance, Renew, and Mass Dispel, and I interchange Death and Inner Fire, just depending, and Mending. So, you just decide between all those. It's personal preference, but there's those must-haves that need to be in there as well. Alright, now for gameplay. Since this video was getting a bit more lengthy than what we wanted, there will be a link in the description to my channel off of, if you're looking at this from Noobley, or if you are looking at it from my channel already, you can easily find my other videos and watch gameplay of how I apply. But I will do a bit more of some, kind of like a priority for discipline discipline and holy when you're healing in an arena, or say BGs. So the biggest thing you want to keep up is your power word shield. That is, you want to use that on cooldown every 14 seconds. It's a 100k shield that no one can do, that someone has to do 90k damage to break it, and then they can start taking off health from you. Prayer of Mending, you do want to use on cooldown, because this will easily heal for 100k with this buff non-crit if you're fully tyrannical, as I am. And then also you get this buff here, which will increases the next heal by 50% for 10 seconds, which is very, very handy. And then yet again, use Penance on cooldown. As you can see, you can run and cast with that glyph, because it's very nice. Okay, and the next thing you want to do is keep Renew on the target at all times. It's a very easy hot to upkeep and be very, very picky about it. It's just a very nice 12k heal every time that goes off. Next, besides managing all your cooldowns and your talents, you just want to keep Fear Ward on you at all times to avoid those fears. And then lastly, I'll go over my macros quick, just a few of them that I use. This one is my Power Word Death macro, or Shadow Word Death macro. It targets the nearest enemy, uses this ability, and then targets whatever you're targeting before, so it really actually doesn't move your target at all. So you'll always stay on that same target. It'll just hit this on the next person. So that's if you're about to get trapped or about to get polymorphed. And then you can break it if you're using the correct glyph, like I said before. And then these I just use Purify, Leap of Faith, and Void Shift on party member 1 and 2 for when I do 3s. A big one that I use is it's just putting Fear Ward on myself, so when I see a priest that's going to run in and fear me, I put it on right away, right as they're about to fear me, so they aren't able to dispel it either. So, because otherwise this is very easily dispellable. This one, Focus, Dispel Magic. I always put the healer as my focus if I'm doing 2s or the target that we're going to CC. And then I use this, and it simply just dispels all of the buffs that they have on them. And then I have another thing for Shadow Fiend to attack the target as well. Alright, thank you for watching. I hope this helped you quite a bit, and if you have any questions, put them below, or just simply ask them, like, and subscribe to us, is greatly appreciated, and I hope you learned something from this. Thanks for watching.